and being quite surprised. So when you said Rupa Goswami, it immediately triggered a doubt.
Yeah, okay.
So when I looked it up, sloka yuvati nam yata, right?
Yeah.
Rupa Goswami quotes it, but he didn't compose it.
Right, okay. I thought he composed it.
No, it's from the Padma Purana. Nama shreshtam manamapi suchiputram matraswarupam rupam tasya rajam urupurim maturim gostavatim radhakundam girivaram maho radhika madhavasam prapto yasya pratitara kripaya shri gurum tam natosmi. So we're reading from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Antya-lila, chapter 2, which covers the pastime of Chota Haridas, little Haridas. Chota means little or young, junior. He's known as Junior Haridas. And we will come to the story of that soon. Right now, Kaviraj Goswami is talking about how Mahaprabhu manifests in certain ways. Avirbhav, Shakshat, and Avesh. Shakshat directly when he's physically present. Avirbhav when he's attracted by the particular devotion of his servitors. And Avesh when he chooses to empower someone by entering into them. And the example of Avesh in the instance of Nakula Brahmachari has been described here. And now it's talking about the Srimananda Brahmachari. So we'll read this pastime of Srimananda Brahmachari as it relates. I believe it relates also from memory. I believe it relates to these types of manifestation. Types of manifestations that Mahaprabhu exhibits. So we'll read it and then we will talk a little bit about Lochan Das Thakur, whose Tirobhav Titi, or disappearance day, is today. Lochan Das. Jai Jai Sri Chaitanya Jai Nityananda Jai Dvaita Chandra Jai Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Paka Samagri Anaha Amiya Chali Chai Amiya Chai Ye Magila Shivananda Anidilatai. Srimananda Brahmachari said to Shivananda, please bring whatever cooking ingredients I want. Thus Shivananda immediately brought whatever he asked for. So they're waiting. Mahaprabhu has promised that he will visit Bengal. He's told the devotees not to come to Jagannath Puri, and he's said that he's going to visit Bengal in the month of Posha, December to January, the cold month. And so they're waiting for him. Shivananda Sain and Jagadananda have arranged their hospitality. They're waiting for him every day. They've prepared a reception, a hospitable reception. But Mahaprabhu is not arriving, and the month of Posh is finished. And Srimananda Brahmachari has approached them, and he said that he will summon Mahaprabhu. So it says every day they would wait until the evening. So in other words, they'd wait until night. They'd wait all day. The whole month passed. Mahaprabhu still hasn't come. And Shivananda Sain and Jagadananda became most unhappy. Dukkita Haila. Dukkha, unhappy. And then suddenly Nishrimananda appeared on the scene. And Nishrimananda asked him, why are you sad? So Shivananda tells them, Mahaprabhu promised he would come, but he hasn't arrived. So Nishrimananda then replies, don't worry, I'll bring him here in 3 days. So then he tells them, as part of his summoning Mahaprabhu, to bring all kinds of bhoga, cooking ingredients, kinds of food, so that he can prepare it and offer it to Mahaprabhu when he comes. So he says, in this way I shall bring him here very soon. Be assured, I'm telling you the truth, don't have any doubts. So they bring him the ingredients, and after he's finished cooking, starting in the morning, where were we? Oh, did we overshoot the mark, did we? Please bring whatever cooking ingredients I want. Thus Shivananda immediately brought whatever he asked for. So, prataha kala haite paka karila apara nana vyanjana pita kira nana upahara. Beginning in the early morning, the Srimananda Brahmachari cooked many varieties of food, including vegetables, cakes, sweet rice, and other preparations. Jagannatera binaboga pritak badila Chaitanya Prabhura lagi araboga kaila. After he finished cooking, he brought separate dishes for Jagannath and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Ishtadeva nashrimha lagi pritak badila tinha jane sarma pia bahire dhyana kaila. He also separately offered dishes to Nrsimhadev, his worshipful deity. Thus, he divided all the food into 3 offerings. Then, outside the temple, he began to meditate upon the Lord. Deke sigra asi vasila chaitanya gosani tinaboga kaila kichu avishishtanai. In his meditation, he saw Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu quickly come, sit down, and eat all the offerings, leaving behind no remnants. Anande vivala pradumna pare ashrudara haha kibakara bali karaye putkara. Pradumna Brahmachari, i.e. Nrsimhananda Brahmachari, was overwhelmed by transcendental ecstasy upon seeing Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu eating everything. Thus tears flowed from his eyes. Nevertheless, he expressed dismay, saying, Alas, alas, my dear Lord, what are you doing? You're eating everyone's food. Jagannate tomaya aikya kautan raboga nishrimhera boga kene kara upayoga. My dear Lord, you are one with Jagannath, therefore I have no objection to your eating his offering. But why are you touching the offering to Lord Narasimhadev? Nishrimhera haila jani aji upavas takura upavasi rahe jiyu kaichedas. I think that Nrsimhadev could not eat anything today, and therefore he is fasting. If the master fasts, how can the servant live? Bhojanadeke yadyapi tanra hridaye ulasa nishrimhalaksh lakshya kari bhai kitchukare dukhavasa. Although Nrsimha Brahmachari felt jubilation within his heart to see Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu eating everything, for the sake of Lord Nrsimhadev, he externally expressed disappointment. Svayam Bhagavan Krishna Chaitanya Gosani Jagannatha Nrsimha Saha Kitchu Bedanai. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself. Therefore, there is no difference between him, Lord Jagannath, and Lord Nrsimhadev. Iha jani bare pradum nera gudha hai tamana taha de kaila prabhu kariya bojana. Pradumna Brahmachari was deeply eager to understand this fact. Therefore, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu revealed it to him by practical demonstration. Bojana Kariya Prabhu Gela Panihati Santosha Paila Deke Vyanjana Paripati. After eating all the offerings, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu started for Panihati. There, he was greatly satisfied to see the different varieties of vegetables prepared in the house of Raghava. Shivananda kahe kene karaha putkara tenha kahe deka tomara prabhura vyavahara. Shivananda said to Nrsimananda, why are you expressing dismay? Nrsimananda replied, just see the behavior of your Lord, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Tina janara boga tenho ekala kaila Jagannatha Nrsimha upavasi haila. He alone has eaten the offerings for all three deities. Because of this, both Jagannath and Nrsimhadev are fasting. Suni Shivanandera chite haila samsaya kiba prema veshe kahe kiba satyahaya. When Shivananda Sain heard the statement, he was unsure whether Nrsimananda Brahmachari was speaking that way because of ecstatic love or because it was actually a fact. Tabe Shivanande kichu kahe brahmachari samagri ana nrsimha lagi punaha pake kare. When Shivananda Sain was thus perplexed, Nrsimananda Brahmachari said to him, bring more food, let me cook again. Lord Nrsimhadev. Tabe Shivananda boga samagri anila paka kare nrsimhera boga lagaila. Then Shivananda Sain again brought the ingredients with which to cook, and Pradumna Brahmachari again cooked and offered to Lord Narasimhadev. Vasantare Shivananda lana bhaktagan nilachale deki yana prabhura charan. The next year, Shivananda went to Jagannath Puri with all the devotees to see the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Ekadina sabate prabhu vata chalaila nshrimanandera guna kahite lagila. One day, in the presence of all the devotees, the Lord raised these topics concerning Nrsimananda Brahmachari and praised his transcendental qualities. Gata varsha poshe more koraila bojana kabuna hikai aiche mistana vyanjana. The Lord said, last year, in the month of Posh, when Nrsimananda gave me varieties of sweetmeats and vegetables to eat, they were so good that I had never before eaten such preparations. Shuni bhaktagana mane ascharya manila shivanandera mane tabe pratyaya janmila. Hearing this, all the devotees were struck with wonder, and Shivananda became confident that the incident was true. E mata sachi grihe satata bojana Srivasera grihe karena kirtana darshana. In this way, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu used to eat at the temple of Sachimata every day and also visit the house of Srivas Thakur when kirtan was performed. Nityanandera nritya dekhana ashi bare bare nirantara avirbhava ragavera gari. Similarly, he was always present when Nityananda Prabhu danced, and he regularly appeared at the house of Raghava. Prema vasa Gaura Prabhu Yahan Premotama Prema vasa Hanataha Dena Darashana. Lord Gaurasunda is greatly influenced by the love of his devotees. Therefore, wherever there is pure devotion to the Lord himself, subdued by such love, appears and his devotees see him. So that's the underlying principle. This gives specific examples where Gauranga Mahaprabhu is constantly present because of the underlying devotion, the intensity of the love and devotion in those places. Sachimata's kitchen, she cooks with great devotion. Nityananda Prabhu's dancing attracts the Lord. Srivas Pandit's kirtan, saturated with devotion. And Raghava Pandit. So this, for some reason I was under the impression that Nrsimananda Brahmachari's experience of Mahaprabhu's visitation was an example of Avesh, but I think it's an example of Avirbhav. I'm going to look it up later. I'm going to review it later. It seems that it's an example of Avirbhav, rather than Mahaprabhu entering into his body, which was the example given with Nakula Brahmachari we read yesterday. This is Avirbhav, Mahaprabhu appearing eating the offerings. So Mahaprabhu is directly appearing. He's not entering into the body of the person, but he's also not physically present as such. So today is the disappearance of another of Mahaprabhu's associates, Lochan Das Thakur, who comes in the line of Gadadhar Pandit, grand disciple of Gadadhar Pandit. He is a great musician and singer, tremendous poetic ability, musical ability. And he's famous as the composer of what is today known and originally known as the Chaitanya Mangal. It's a book called the Chaitanya Mangal. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur authorized by his example. He had translated, written in Bengali, published. He published 3 biographies of Mahaprabhu. Of course, Chaitanya Charitamrita, Chaitanya Bhagavat, and Chaitanya Mangal. Those were 3 he had published by the Gaudiya Math, thus endorsing their validity, authenticity. He authenticated them that way. Not that all other biographies are absolutely questionable, inauthentic. Perhaps elements of them are, and other elements are not. We don't know. What we do know is that Saraswati Thakur endorsed these 3. Chaitanya Mangal, Chaitanya Bhagavat, and Chaitanya Charitamrita. And others, there's many biographies of Mahaprabhu. There's some 7 or so, just in Bengali, I think. And then another several in the Aryan language. So, Lochan Das Thakur wrote Chaitanya Mangal. Originally, Vrindavan Das Thakur's book, Chaitanya Bhagavat, that was known as Chaitanya Mangal, was published originally as Chaitanya Mangala, which means auspicious, Gauranga Mahaprabhu, the auspicious account of Gauranga Mahaprabhu. And when Lochan Das published Chaitanya Mangal, they couldn't have 2 books with the same title. So it was decided that they would rename Vrindavan Das Thakur's Chaitanya Mangal as Chaitanya Bhagavat. They came to a consensus that they would rename it. Why Chaitanya Bhagavat? Because Vrindavan Das Thakur is seen as the Vyasadeva of Chaitanya-lila. And what did Vyasadeva famously write? The Bhagavatam, the Bhagavat Purana. So they called it the Chaitanya Bhagavat in honor of that, in recognition of that. So Lochan Das Thakur wrote the Chaitanya Mangal. It's a rasa-saturated piece of literature. Very poetic, full of sentiment. Rasa is sentiment, rasa and sentiment connected. Not so much Siddhanta, philosophy, not so much, but more rasa. Emotion, spiritual emotion, sentiment. So, he's a disciple of Narahari Sakara. There is a living tradition still in India that follows Narahari Sakara. Around Bengal there are various Shripats of the associates and descendants of Mahaprabhu. Say descendants, spiritual descendants. So Narahari Sakara also has his Shripat. Shripat means like the place of his family or the spiritual, of either the family heartland or the spiritual heartland where they founded their temple or their society. Like Advaitaracharya's Shripat is of course Shantipur. And Gadadhar Pandit's Sripat is in Bharatpur. Janavamata, well, Kadaha, K something, Bengal. So there's various places. Sri Pata. Sri just means like an auspicious place. Pata, auspicious place. The place where they have the headquarters, you could say, of their school or sampradaya. We don't hear about it so much these days because it's not particularly relevant to our practical spiritual processes, our sadhu sangha, our bhajan, our sadhana in general. But there is still a tradition in Bengal where these associates of Mahaprabhu and the followers have their Shripats. So I'm not sure if Lochan Das Thakur has his Sripat, but those who recognize and follow him also follow his guru, Narahari Sakara. Yeah. So, Lochan Das Thakur wrote the Chaitanya Mangal. And we'll notice that all of these biographies that were authorized, published by Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada, they all have a strong connection with Nityananda Prabhu. It's almost as if whenever there's going to be a propagation of Mahaprabhu's teachings, Nityananda Prabhu has a role to play, a central role to play. Nityananda Prabhu is behind it. Whenever Mahaprabhu's mercy, his kripa, is being broadcast, you look peer behind the curtain and Nityananda Prabhu is there, fueling the enterprise. With the Chaitanya Charitamrita, we read that Kaviraj Goswami was visited in a dream by Nityananda Prabhu, who told him, get up, go to Vrindavan. That was preceded by an incident involving one of the gopas of Nityananda Prabhu, knows Mini Ketan, who was offended, insulted, neglected by one of Kaviraj Goswami's family members in Bengal. And that triggered this visitation, dream visitation by Nityananda Prabhu to Kaviraj Goswami. He told him, wake up. He told him, go to Vrindavan. So that very morning he woke up. Immediately following the dream, he woke up. It was morning time. He set off to Vrindavan. And of course, what do we know? His famous yeoman service in Vrindavan was the composition, the authoring of Chaitanya Charitamrita. Nityananda Prabhu again, behind the scenes, causing it to happen. Without his instruction to Kaviraj Goswami to go to Vrindavan, then he wouldn't have been there to be requested by the servitors of the Govinda Dev temple to write some more literature on Mahaprabhu. So again we see Nityananda Prabhu causing this revelation of Mahaprabhu's glories to happen. Without Nityananda Prabhu, we would not have Chaitanya Charitamrita. We say without Kaviraj Goswami, but without Nityananda Prabhu's direction to Kaviraj Goswami, showing him where his service was. Jai Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Now let's look at the Chaitanya Bhagavat. There's no need for explanation there. We know that Vrindavan Das Thakur is a disciple of Nityananda Prabhu. Nityananda Prabhu is his very life and soul. And the Chaitanya Bhagavat covers the glories of Nityananda Prabhu. It's no secret. It's obvious. It's overt, out in the open, that the inspiration behind the Chaitanya Bhagavat is Nityananda Prabhu. Again, we have a direct disciple of Nityananda Prabhu inaugurating the broadcasting of Mahaprabhu's Leela. This was like the seminal work, the first work. Broadcasting, spreading the glories, the Leela of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Again, Nityananda Prabhu was there as the inspiration, as the force behind the spreading of the nectar of Mahaprabhu. So then we go, what about the Chaitanya Mangal? Well, that too. But that's a little more hidden. Because the Chaitanya Mangal doesn't really so much glorify Nityananda. It's about Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But after he had written it, Lochan Das Thakur realized that, he felt a little guilty that he hadn't given enough attention to Nityananda Prabhu. Realizing that Nityananda Prabhu is the powerhouse behind any ability to spread Gauranga Mahaprabhu's Sankirtan movement, Nityananda is there. He is the prime preacher. In fact, Mahaprabhu's Gurudev says that Mahaprabhu's preaching mission didn't actually start proper until Nityananda Prabhu arrives in Navadvip. Before then, there may have been some kirtan, but the preaching mission itself did not kick off. It was not properly inaugurated until Nityananda Prabhu arrived. And then it started in earnest. So Nityananda Prabhu is there as the essential factor in any broadcasting of Mahaprabhu's glories. So in the case of Lochan Das Thakur, realizing this, knowing that there's the mercy of Nityananda Prabhu behind his glorification of Gauranga, but feeling guilty that he hasn't given proper recognition to this in his book. So what does he do? He writes songs in glorification of Nityananda Prabhu. As you'll notice that half the songs in our songbook to Nityananda, they're all composed by Lochan Das Thakur as a result of this, in recognition of his role. They say it's a regret for not giving him enough attention, enough praise, recognition in the Chaitanya Mangal. Half the songs. He may have written more songs about Nityananda Prabhu, but 3 of those are in the book. Maybe you can give us the titles of the songs, or the first line.
Nisaguna Maniyama.
Nitya-guna Mariyama, Nitya-guna Paramakara. There we go. Akroda Paramananda Nityananda Ram Paramakaruna Nitai Gaurachandra.
The favourite song of the Venezuelan devotees.
There's a bit of trivia for you. Yeah, well, there's their deities, isn't it? And they have who to thank for that? Lochan Das Thakur. There we go to all you Venezuelan devotees out there. Hare Krishna, Jai Srila Lochan Das Thakur. Parama Karuna Edui Jana Nitai Gaurachandra. Yeah, so a great devotee, so we have some uniqueness here in that a great devotee of Nityananda Prabhu, having composed these famous and core worship songs. I said half our liturgy for Nityananda Prabhu. No, there's only half a dozen songs, but still that means that they're treasured. There's not like an overabundance, a glut, a tsunami of songs. There's 6 very high quality songs to Nityananda Prabhu in our songbook, and 3 of them are by Lochan Das Thakur. That's not an insignificant statistic. It's very poignant. It's much devotion to Nityananda Prabhu, much devotion to Gauranga, as we can see. There is authorship of the Chaitanya Mangal. And of course much devotion to Sri Gadadhar Pandit, coming in the line of Gadadhar Pandit, disciple of Narahari Sakara. So I'm sure there's many other incidents and pastimes that are connected to Lochan Das Thakur. There undoubtedly is. But we've given a brief, appreciative something brief and appreciative of Lochan Das. And then, come his appearance day, whenever that is, we can refresh and give perhaps a more comprehensive glorification of Lord Chandas Thakur. Jai Srila Lord Chandas Thakur Avirbhav Titi Ki Jai. Tirobhav Titi Ki Jai. We read from Revealed Truth by Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev-Goswami Maharaj. Gurudev is talking about recognition of a Vaishnava. Yesterday we covered the famous incident. Gurudev doesn't mention Satyaraj Khan here when he's describing Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's definition of a Vaishnava. Firstly being, is given in Antya-lila chapter 15, firstly being one who chants Hare Krishna even once should be considered a Vaishnava. One who chants Hare Krishna constantly should be considered a higher Vaishnava. And one who causes others to chant Hare Krishna should be considered again a further advanced Vaishnava. And the context is that Satyaraj Khan, who was one of the devotees from Kulina, visits Mahaprabhu and asks him on subsequent visits, asks Mahaprabhu, what is the definition of a devotee? And Mahaprabhu gives these definitions. Next year he asks him, can you elaborate on that? Mahaprabhu then elaborates, saying, well, not just one who chants, but one who chants constantly. And then a third year, Satyaraj Khan asks him, can you elaborate further? And Mahaprabhu says, yes, well, not just one who chants constantly, but one who causes other people to chant. In other words, one in whose association you are inspired to chant, one in whose association you develop faith in chanting, and thus you chant. So first there is chanting, then there is the effect of the chanting, the purification effect. And once that's reached a certain point, then other people are kind of like one candle lighting another candle. Other people are affected by that. So that is the higher level of devotion. Chanting, constant chanting, and then the result of that chanting. So that's the highest level. And these were elicited from Mahaprabhu by Satyaraj Khan from memory. Satyaraj Khan was also, I think, from memory asked to perform another service. Any ideas? This is a little detailed. I wouldn't expect someone to know it, memorize it off the cuff. But I think Satyaraj Khan was asked to also make ropes for the towing of the Jagannath Rath, the Jagannath cart. Because Kulina, where he was from, was famous for its rope making or cloth weaving and cloth making, that kind of industry. And they had very high quality silks. So Mahaprabhu instructs them. The ropes break, you see, one year. And Mahaprabhu instructs them it can be your service to bring very high quality, strong ropes to pull the Rath for the next. And this is what Satyaraj Khan does. Along with some help from the other Kulina devotees. I'm pretty sure it's Satyaraj Khan. Can't think of anyone else. But he is also the one who is questioning Mahaprabhu and receiving these definitions of who is a Vaishnava, Vaishnava identity. So, but even that said, Gurudev further elaborates by saying, Guru Maharaj also explained that there are other ways of practically understanding who is a Vaishnava. Quote, he gave many examples. Someone whom the Vaishnavas are happy to see is a Vaishnava. Someone who is happy to see the Vaishnavas is also a Vaishnava. And someone who is happy to serve the Vaishnavas is also a Vaishnava, and so on. So there are many varieties of definitions of a Vaishnava, end quote. So essentially the principle here is that in this kind of group of definitions, the principle is that someone who is connected in a favorable way with the Vaishnavas, they can be considered a Vaishnav, part of the group of Vaishnavas. If they are part of that group in a, we can say, anukul way, anukul, like favorability, then they can be considered a Vaishnav. Gurudev also made the point yesterday, another important point, that sometimes it's difficult to recognize a Vaishnav. So, where does he say that? Yeah, it is very difficult to recognize a Vaishnav, but we can have some idea about who Vaishnavas are through the definitions of the Vaishnavas given in the scriptures, and of course given, for instance, by Guru Maharaj here, talking about someone who's happy to see a Vaishnav, someone who's happy to serve the Vaishnavas, and someone who the Vaishnavas are happy to see. And Gurudev also says someone who has the qualities of a Vaishnav. So there's some common sense perspectives, common sense rules that are informing, common sense perspectives that are informing this idea of who is a Vaishnav. So this subchapter is entitled Recognition and Respect. There is a very nice story in the Mahabharata about the difficulty of recognizing a Vaishnav and the practice of respecting someone who is recognized as a Vaishnav by an authority. After the great Rajasuya sacrifice, Krishna, as well as many munis and rishis, took prasad at the mansion of the Pandavas. Lastly, Krishna told the assembly, when the Rajasuya sacrifice has been properly completed, a bell will ring. Bhimasen heard Krishna's statement and took it seriously. When the sacrifice seemed to be finished and everyone had been satisfied with prasadam, the bell did not ring. Bhimasen asked Krishna, well, this is quite a long one. You know this story, right? Where there's a sadhu on the outskirts of the kingdom, on the outskirts of the city, and he hasn't been given prasad. And then he comes and still he's not being served properly. And until he's served properly, the bell doesn't ring. But anyway, we'll just read through it. Bhimasen asked Krishna, why is the bell not ringing? You said it would ring automatically when the sacrifice was successfully completed. Have we done something wrong? Krishna said, you have served prasadam to so many people, but you have not served all the Vaishnavas. There is a Vaishnav who lives in the jungle under a tree not too far from your mansion. He was not invited to the sacrifice, and he is not taking prasadam. Because he has not been served, there is some fault in your sacrifice, and it cannot be considered fully complete. Bhimasen and Arjuna understood that they needed to serve this Vaishnav, but they knew on their own they could not recognize him. So Arjuna asked Krishna, we cannot recognize this Vaishnav on our own, so please come with us and show us who he is. Krishna accompanied Bhima and Arjuna to the jungle and showed them, a great Vaishnav lives near that tree in that broken thatched hut. He lives near you, but he doesn't come to your festivals. He has no hankering for anything mundane, even food. Arjuna and Bhima went up to his hut with folded palms and said, O Prabhu, please come and take prasad at our sacrifice. The Vaishnav said, Oh, you are Arjuna and Bhimasen? You have come to invite me, and it would be very offensive for me not to accept your invitation. So he responded with humility in this way. Bhimasen and Arjuna said, Krishna himself has said that you are a Vaishnav, so please come and accept something from us. That Vaishnav never went anywhere or took anything from anyone, but when he was invited by Arjuna, Bhima and Krishna himself, he accepted and came to take prasad. Draupadi was a very expert cook, and she prepared many varieties of food. She offered the Vaishnavas very opulent prasad. Others fanned him. She offered that Vaishnav very opulent. Others fanned him and gave him much nourishment. When he took the prasad, he mixed all the different preparations together and took them all at once. After he left, the bell still did not ring. Bhimasena again asked Krishna, "What happened? You said that if we fed that Vaishnav, everything would be finished and fulfilled." Krishna said, "You must have made some offense. You have called him and fed him, but you must have somehow made an offense to him." Krishna asked Arjuna, "When you called him and fed him, did you make any offense to him?" And Arjuna said, "No, I don't remember making an offense." Bhimasena also said, "No, I don't remember either making any offense." Yudhisthira and everyone else present also said, "I don't remember seeing any offense made to him. I don't know what offense has been made." Finally, Krishna asked his dear friend Draupadi, "Draupadi, have you done anything?" And Draupadi confessed, "I cooked so many varieties of prasadam for him, and when I saw him mix all of them together, I thought he did not know how to properly accept this opulent prasad. My thinking in this way may have been an offense." Krishna said, "Yes, you are right, this was the offense. He should be called and fed again." The next day, Krishna and Arjuna went and called the Vaishnava again. They brought him to the mansion and fed him again. Then he took prasad the second time. The bell began to ring and the sacrifice was complete. This story shows us that it is very difficult to recognize a Vaishnava, and that it also may be difficult to respect him, even when we are told that he is a Vaishnava. So that's why Gurudev emphasizes the practice of Trinadapi Sunichena, humility, tolerance, and giving honor. Because then that safeguards any inadvertent failure to recognize a Vaishnava. If your default position is humility, tolerance, and giving honor, then even if you fail to recognize a Vaishnava, you will still be giving honor, still presenting yourself with humility, and as a result of that, be avoiding offenses. So it's like a ring fencing your spiritual life. Trinadapi Sunichena. A protective mechanism if it becomes our default position. Default position meaning that we live it naturally without any kind of extraneous extra effort. It becomes our natural way of living and being. Not so easy, but it can be done with practice. And of course it safeguards us against failing to recognize a Vaishnava, which itself can be detrimental to our spiritual well-being. Jai Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev-Goswami Maharaj ki Jai, Sri Lochan Das Thakur Tirobhav Titi Mahotsav ki Jai, Gurudev ki Jai, Goswaminandi Hari Bo. Do you want to sing? Hari Haraya. You sing, I'll play the drum.
Hari Haraya Nama Krishna Yadavaya Namaha.
Hari Haraya Nama Krishna Yadavaya Namaha.
Yadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namaha.
Yadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namaha. Bala Govinda Ram Shri Madhusudana. Giridhari Gopinath Madana Mohana. Shri Chaitanya Nityananda Shri Advaita Chandra. Radha Sundar Radha Giri Hari Ki Jai. Jai Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev-Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Dev-Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Vishnupad Bhagavan Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada Ki Jai. Rugunugu Guru Varg Ki Jai. Srila A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Samaveda Vaishnav Mandala Ki Jai. Samaveda Bhakti Vrinda Ki Jai. Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat Ki Jai, Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat London Ki Jai, Sri Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai, Nitai Gaur Premanandi Hari Bol.
God, how long did the word be?
Boo.